One of my favorite memories of my husband is right before I quit my corporate job, I came home from work after having a bad day and he said, hop in the car, we're going on a date, we're gonna go get you a book. A dream date for someone like me. We ended up getting in the car, going to Best Buy, and he bought me a MacBook, and that was his sweet way of saying that he believed in me and supported me with my crazy creative dreams. But I still think back on that and think I sure would have loved that bookstore date. I try to read about 4 books a month and love reading, and so today I want to take you behind the scenes on one of the tools that helps me do that, this guide called LeaderBox, and we're going to do a little unboxing as well. Hey there, welcome to another episode. I'm Ashlyn Carter here at Ashlyn Writes, where I'm a calligrapher and copywriter, and I love to help creative entrepreneurs like you talk about and enter into a conversation about how we can work from a place of rest, not hustle. As we get into this, if you've ever wondered what books I actually read and recommend, I have my whole digital bookshelf waiting and ready for you. Look down in the description box below, you'll see a link to that. I hope you enjoy. Also, if we break into this and you feel like, you know what, I don't even like to read that much, I may want to learn how to read more. I've done a whole blog post on that as well, been in your shoes before, so if you look down below again in that description box, you will find that blog post. As we get into the breakdown and into the tips, if you like what you hear, hit subscribe. You will be first to know when all new videos like this come out every single Friday. So like I said, I read 4, sometimes 3, usually 4 books a month, and this tool called LeaderBox totally helps me do that and keep me accountable. So I want to unbox. This is my new June box. I haven't unwrapped it yet. We're gonna break into this, and also I want to tell you a little bit about what I like about it and what I don't like about it. Readers are leaders, President Truman said. So true. So LeaderBox was created by a guy named Michael Hyatt, who is a leadership development coach and entrepreneur. I really admire the way that his brain clicks and works when it comes to the intersection of faith and business, integrity, and leadership. I totally recommend his podcast. It's called Free to Focus. I've listened to it a lot of times as I'm running. It's good motivation before you go into the workday, especially if you have a team. But today we're not talking about his podcast, we're talking about his subscription box. As you start working for yourself, there are no more company-wide lunch and learns or wellness programs. One time I remember it was a Friday and a margarita machine came rolling into the office. That was pretty sweet.
So, who's up for margarita?
But we also had a book club that I loved when I was working in corporate. So when you work for yourself, you get to look at this as you either don't have those or it's your turn to make them up and create the culture as you go. That's how I like to look at it. LeaderBox is one way that I've entered into that book club space as an entrepreneur. I will also say this is hands down the most expensive subscription box that I do. Clocks in at about 79 bucks a month, so that's pretty pricey. I'm pretty sure it also beats out our HelloFresh weekly order price. Before we break into the box, let me kind of break down what LeaderBox is. In a nutshell, it is a monthly curated subscription box reading experience that comes with 2 leadership books, a 21-day guide to help you finish reading in about 30 minutes a day, a workbook that includes space to write your insights, as well as some cliff notes and also a list of further resources, articles, or videos that you can explore, and access to a private Facebook community. So it renews every single month like any other subscription box out there, but if it's your first time getting into it, then I think it's like the midway point through the month that you need to subscribe so you get the box and can start with everybody on the first of the month. Let's do the fun part and break this puppy down. This is what you see every month. I've never actually read this, but it says welcome to LeaderBox. It also comes with all of this, which I'm not gonna lie, I have put in a bag before and used to wrap presents. There's always this guide that kind of gives you a success plan and a little roadmap about what's gonna happen next and how you dig into this. Consider it like your how-to guide or roadmap when you're first getting started. It looks like these are the 2 books this month. They're always packaged really pretty. I'm gonna get into the activation guide, but first let's break into these 2 books and see what they are. Does it feel like it's my birthday party and you're invited? Ooh. Oh my gosh, I will actually love this. I've always wanted to read about George Washington. Oh, I'm excited, and it's just in time for the 4th. Yay. Okay, so this looks like George Washington on Leadership by Richard Brooke. I don't know how to say his last name, but this looks fabulous. Also, shout out to the bookmarks every single month because they help me check off day by day, especially when I don't lose them. They're really helpful because I always need to know what page number I'm supposed to stop at every day. Next book, Peak Performance. Okay, never heard of this one either. That's pretty normal. I've usually not ever heard of the books that are inside. This is by Brad Stolberg and Steve Magnus, and it's about elevating your game, avoiding burnout, and thriving with the new science of success. Don't new books smell so good? This is the activation guide. I'm gonna flip the camera around and show you page by page what it looks like inside. Here is inside the activation guide. This is what you get every month. It's just a spiral bound little workbook. You flip inside, there's a how-to, and then once you get going, it breaks down again. That's the same reading guide that is in the bookmark that they give you every single month, so you know what to read each day. There's a summary at the beginning. I have found that kind of helpful to read at the beginning. At the end, I usually read it just kind of like to sum up everything that I've just read. And then you have space to write every single day. So here's some more overview. Every day there's like key quotes. Some of these are the key quotes that I agreed with too. I underline a lot in books. Like I totally destroy books. So usually I don't have these same quotes that I necessarily found super helpful, but some other things that I wanted to underline. I really like this part. Again, it's kind of like workbooky, but when I found when I answer these questions, I tend to do a little bit better job understanding what it was that I read. So I do try to make myself do that. You have that space every single day. So at the end of the book, let's get to that section. Here we go, where you can kind of record your insights. So this is really helpful to go through. Your summary that you thought, your rating of the book, insights, things that you didn't really agree with in the book, snippets that you want to remember, your takeaways. I have found this really helpful. I think that in the past, reading comprehension, I tend to read really quickly and I don't always remember things that I read, and so this has been a helpful way to kind of combat that. There's an action plan at the end if you didn't come up with enough takeaways for yourself, and then it digs into the next book. And it's the same kind of thing for the next book all the way through. And then at the back of the guide, you find some more additional resources, like I said, like resources that you may want to check out as far as video, article, and other books on both of the books. And that, in a nutshell, is what is inside the activation guide every single month. See, I told you so much of this that you can use to wrap your presents. Let's get into my unadulterated thoughts on LeaderBox. Could you get both of these books for cheaper on Amazon? 100%. But as James Wedmore, one of my favorite entrepreneurs, has said, the transformation is in the transaction. The way I look at LeaderBox is it's another educational investment for me in my business. Just like when I'm shopping for courses, sometimes there are ways I can get to what I foresee as the end goal on my own, but it's either going to take me longer, I don't have the added accountability, and I'm lazy and I won't actually do it. So using a tool like LeaderBox, I do have the accountability and I tend to finish the books because I paid for them. I've been getting LeaderBox for about 8 months now, and I am going to hit pause on my subscription for the summer so I can read a little bit more of the fiction books and other things that I've been wanting to read. That list has been piling up, but I am going to renew my subscription. So clearly I think it's worth it. But before I get into why I think it's worth it, I do want to talk about some cons or challenges that I see with LeaderBox. The first is it's definitely not for everybody. I speak to you, mostly creative entrepreneurs, and I do think that a lot of us still look at ourselves as either freelancers or artists, and we don't really step into that business owner position and see ourselves as entrepreneurs that are building scalable business models. I do think that LeaderBox is a better fit if you're somebody that sees yourself more as a business owner and you have a team, even if it's just a couple of people or even contractors that you are trying to manage and lead. Even leading your clients, I think, is a great form of service and leadership. So if you see yourself more in that capacity, then I think it's going to be a better fit for you than somebody who just sees themselves as a solopreneur or an artist working in a silo by themselves. I also am first to say I haven't loved every single book throughout all the 8 months. I think it's a little bit like high school or college in that aspect. I kind of wish sometimes that it were like Birchbox, you know, how you go in and you say like what kind of skin problems you have and what your complexion looks like, and then they tailor make the Birchbox to fit that. I wish LeaderBox was like that, but it's not. The third thing I don't love is that I don't really use the online community. I'm sure it's a fabulous resource, but I'm just in a whole lot of Facebook groups and don't have time for another one. I will say that sometimes if I can't find my bookmark, I'll just pull up my phone next to me and open the group because they post every day what page you should read through as far as the book club idea goes, and that has been helpful for me in a clutch situation. The things that I love about LeaderBox. The first, I want to be around people that are smarter than me. Again, like school, how many times did you read a book in high school or college that you never would have picked up, and it probably even was a challenge to read, but once you got through it, it pushed you and challenged you in a way. It gave you a new worldview, it opened up your mind. There's so many books like that that I didn't necessarily love, but I'm still really glad that I read. And LeaderBox has given me a lot of books like that. I wouldn't necessarily go to the bookstore and pick these up off the shelves, but after I finish reading them, there's always nuggets and truths that I pull out for them, and I'm able to apply to my business and to my life. The second thing I love about LeaderBox is the 21-day reading plan. It has been Total game changer. I don't have to read every day out of the month, and that is great. I can read fiction or whatever I want on the weekends. Also, because it is just about 20 to 30 minutes of reading time every day, I can totally catch up on the weekends on the times that I skip or I don't feel like reading that day. The third thing I've loved about LeaderBox is that it's pushed me outside of my bubble. In that blog post that I mentioned, I talked about as creatives, I think it really benefits us if we're able to look outside, if we look at everything that other entrepreneurs and people in our space are reading and consuming and listening to, and we look the other direction and we see what is out there that we maybe haven't been listening to or rocks that we haven't uncovered. If we go that direction, it just gives a nice little monkey wrench kind of in our brain to make us think a different way. This reading tool has totally done that. I found the book which I never would have discovered otherwise, and it has impacted me so much. So at the end of the day, my verdict, I'm gonna keep it up at least for half a year, if not maybe 3/4 of the year. So that, as I wrap up, is my challenge to you. Can you figure out some way to throw a little bit of a change up in your reading plan? Maybe it's 3 months out of the year that you wanna do LeaderBox or some other kind of tool out there that's gonna challenge the books that you usually pick up and read. As you serve your clients, you're already a leader. So I want you to really step into that and own your leadership. Last thing, as we wrap this up, go ahead and comment below if you have a summer book that you're gonna read or suggest to me. I love hearing what other people are reading. I love getting ideas from you guys. So comment below if there's a book that you think I should read or one of your favorite business books. All right, I'll see you back for an all new video next week.